Hello and welcome to the Rush Roundtable. This is episode number 241, where we discuss Sweet Miracle off of the Vapor Trails album. With me, of course, is Rob. We got Paul, and of course, David. Now, don't forget, as in all YouTube, all the YouTube world, you might want to smash that subscribe button, ring the bell, share this thing. If you're on Facebook, share that on Facebook. If you're sitting next to your friend, show them your phone or hold up your laptop, whatever it takes. Also, hey, there's Ko-fi down below. Feel free to tip us with Ko-fi, and there might be some merch if you want a shirt that's like Paul's. If you want a shirt that's like mine, obviously I'm not representing Rush tonight, but I'm hosting. So, and also, yes, Paul's got the mug. Lots of stuff. We got sponsors. Look at what the sponsors offer. Now, with that being said, every song on Vapor Trails has a corresponding tarot card. I can't really share my tarot with you because you won't really see it. So I think we're going to have Paul share that Ace of Cups for us.
There it is.
And might Rob have something to say about this?
I do. In tarot reading, the Ace of Cups means joy and inner peace from friends and family. In the Rider-Waite Smith deck, the five streams pouring out of the cup represent the five senses: sight, smell, hearing, taste, and touch. As a symbol of possibility in the area of deep feelings, intimacy, attunement, compassion, and love, and divination, it shows that a seed of emotional awareness has been planted in your life that you may not yet recognize it. Though you may not recognize it, excuse me. When the seed sprouts, it could take almost any form. It might take an attraction, strong feeling, intuitive knowing, or sympathetic reaction. On the outside, it could be an offer, gift, opportunity, encounter, or synchronistic event. There you have it.
Nice. And oddly enough, I actually was looking at the definitions that came with this set that I bought way back when. And of course, when I bought it way back when, my eyes were way younger. So I don't think I'm going to be reading anything beyond words like pleasure and happiness and beauty, because my reading glasses aren't that close to me. Now, probably good to begin the song at the beginning with an intro, a nice A minor riff. Leifson's got a bit of a 3/4 pattern going melodically. Getty kind of establishes the roots. That A minor, G to A, G to A kicks in with not really a unison pattern with Leifson, but a little bit. And then the guitar gets funky for 4 measures, rounding out a 10-measure intro, and brings us to the verse, which is I wasn't walking on water. I was standing on a reef when the tide came in, swept beneath the surface, lost without a trace, no hope at all, no hope at all. Now, aside from my Walken-esque spacing between reef and when, what does anyone have to say about that verse?
Well, spelling out, it's almost like a 1-2 punch. I wasn't walking on water. Things weren't great. Things weren't miraculous. I was standing at a reef, so you're already on a ledge. Tragedy number 1. When the tide came in, tragedy number 2. Swept beneath the surface, the reaction to it, and then lost without a trace. That feeling of hopelessness is how I took it.
Yeah, it feels like the beginning of his journey again, recounting. There's a bit of reminiscence going on here, I feel. Just what Paul described too. These things come in, there's movement happening, there's events going on, and he's sort of, I guess, sort of building up to what the song is going to be addressing through the way. And then even that beginning, that very first line of "I wasn't walking on water" has that sort of religious connotation to it as well. So there's little smatterings and inklings of that type of thing in the lyrics, my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know.
One, I love the intro to the song musically. So good. And Alex, you described that so well. The lyrics, I wasn't walking on water. Again, the religious connotation, it's an illusion, right? What appears to be isn't what it is. And I've had the good fortune of my father retired 30 years ago in Florida. So I've had many occasions to be swept away by big waves, you know, and power of water and what it can do. And so you're just there. You think everything's great. It's beautiful. You're surrounded by the ocean, and then it kicks your ass. So again, I have no idea what was in Neil's mind when he wrote this, what experiences he had. This is the question I have. What inspired Neil to write these lyrics? Was it something he read? Did he experience this in the water? Because water can be so strong, can be so powerful, and you don't have control of that much water, you know. And then, yeah, you're swept beneath the surface. You're lost without a trace. And it happens every season. Beachgoers, uh, the water pulls people out, and they don't know how to deal with that. So those last two lines, no hope at all, no hope at all. That's how you feel when the water hits you and pulls you out.
Reach that undertow.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Riptide.
as someone who can't swim, I tend not to head out into the ocean or any sort of powerful body of water. Now, during this verse, guitar just had a lot of 16th note strumming. It was constant, it was consistent, it had a little bit of drive to it, and they go right into that chorus. This is a short song. We're not going for a pre-chorus. We're not extending anything. We're just smacking it right into the chorus. Now, instrumentally, before I get to the lyrics, instrumentally, I love the fact that the guitar plays a one measure phrase that is essentially climbing up the neck. So he just continually repeats this with these double stops that are just moving up the D string and G strings, so that it does create this real sense of urgency right there, real sense of energy, along still with the 16th notes of the strum underneath. So the lyrics that Getty offers us, "Oh sweet miracle, oh sweet miracle, oh sweet miracle, oh sweet miracle of life." There's something about Neil repeating those lyrics.
And notice that harmony both in the O2 and the 13 mixes for this first one, because I there's going to be a pattern I noticed, or not a pattern, but I noticed when the harmony vocals are present and when they're not. And they are present for this one. They're lower in the mix in both mixes, but they're there. That's going to change with the other two choruses.
And that's
So
definitely that's something
interpretation only, but calling after the first verse we just had, if it follows along the way I was looking at it, this might be calling out for the miracle, or wondering where it is, or a lack thereof, however you care to interpret it, but as if it's not there at this point. And again, this is solely an interpretation. I could be way wrong, but that's how I took it.
But we do know Neil kind of wants people to put themselves into it. So
I'm not saying it's empirical.
We tend to read our own experiences into lyrics, right? We didn't have Neil's experience. We just have our own. Neil's lyrics are about his experience, which we didn't have. So we read our own experience into those lyrics. And that's the beautiful thing about language, right? And life experience. There are multiple meanings. It's not just one single thing that's right or wrong, good or bad, but multiple understandings and interpretations. And I love the fact, we went from no hope at all to sweet miracle. Sometimes things work out.
To that end, when I first was listening to this, in 2002, my brain went to him, I guess, lamenting and acknowledging the loss of the lives, I should say. But yeah, what you're just saying in that respect, I feel like that might be there in that upfront verse. That first verse could be, that. And then, but, by the time I read Ghost Rider, it sort of seemed like he was starting to speak more to the life moving forward, obviously. But I suppose that's kind of, like
Past
I
tense
say,
verbs.
yes, I feel like I'm being a little obvious here.
No, I
Well,
mean, I'm kind of reading this literally, right? Because I've been on the beach and the water, and I was, but as all these songs on this record talk about Neil's experience with his loss and pain, it's a metaphor. Neil was a master of metaphor, right? And a master of symbol. What happened to him may or may not have actually happened in the water, but life did that to him, right? Um, no hope. That's why he got on his bike and did the 50,000-mile journey, but somewhere he rose to the surface. Thanks, Alex. I would have never thought of that without what you just said. That's great.
and here I am feeling like I'm just being, I don't know. Anyway, I should just be a host and say, let's go to verse 2.
Very good.
First verse different from the next. I wasn't walking with angels. I was talking to myself, rising up to the surface, raging against the night, starless night. That's some fight. That's some he's working it. He's working his angels. Just saying.
Very nice.
Not that we want to get an album ahead of ourselves. I'll be quiet.
Good reference. Yeah.
Cool.
In some ways,
Okay.
I think this verse is a redescription of the first verse, right? The first, I wasn't walking on water. I wasn't walking with angels. I was standing on a reef. I was talking to myself. He's redescribing the exact same event, but then you lost the trace, no hope at all, but all of a sudden rising to the surface. That's the sweet miracle, and raging against the night, a starless night, right? There was no light. And, again, being literal, if you've ever been pushed around by ocean water, it's a bitch, man. That water is strong, but I love his metaphor, raging against the night, starless night. Just, yeah, to be fighting against all of that pressure that you cannot control.
Yeah, I think even just
I
the
mean, he
idea.
expresses all of his pain in this verse, I think.
I just like the part of the starless night, because when you have, I guess in the early days of navigation, you would have the stars to show you the way, and he felt he had no direction still, even at this point in the tune, that he still felt sort of disoriented or didn't have his way, didn't know which way he was going to move. So his navigational capacity was not quite there either, I think, emotionally and otherwise, probably.
And I going line by line. I wasn't walking with angels, so reaffirming no outside guide. In other words, whether it's a higher power or whatever. I was talking to myself, finding it from within. Still that almost lonely type feel. Has to find that comfort. Rising up to the surface. So now I'm going to try and start to get through it. Now we have an action. And then raging against the night, starless night. First thing when I heard raging against the night, I thought back to Dylan Thomas again, who we know he read.
Right.
Look at Red Tide with Let Us Not Go Gently in the Endless Winter Night, inspired by Dylan Thomas. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. So just wordsmithing wise, I'm not saying it's a direct point to it, but inspired by that type of phrasing. And as you both made excellent points as far as the starless night, the lack of navigation, like, okay, I'm trying, but I'm not seeing it yet. And then I don't want to get ahead, but taking it, that's my thoughts on that verse until the next chorus.
And I know for myself, like even as a kid, waking up in the dark, there was just this oppressive nature of the darkness, because it's sort of whether my eyes were open or if I shut them, even knowing that, you're looking up at blackness And even though it could sort of be, oh, my ceiling is 8 feet high, or if you're sleeping, camping out, you see the stars, and it's kind of like the sheltering sky. If I, want to bring other references from other bands in, but at the same time too, it's the sort of thing where that absolute blackness in front of your face is just so intense and demanding, and could just sort of be an odd presence that it's just kind of like, hey, I'm right in front of your face, but I'm nothingness. And that's really, at least from my own experience as a kid, feeling that lying in bed, that was freaky. To be as inarticulate as possible, I'm just going to say freaky.
Gets the point across.
But
That is the technical term.
yes,
Yeah.
and story of my life notwithstanding, we're not here for me. We're here to check out the next chorus. Because the next chorus, we do have the same lyrics of "Oh Sweet Miracle," "Oh Sweet Miracle," "Oh Sweet Miracle," "Love Sweet Miracle of Life." So it seems like he's still moving forward into the positive.
Both mixes, there's almost or no, depending. I listened to it repeatedly. The harmony vocals are either very, very low or non-existent, depending on the mix of the listening space. So it's definitely solo, which I find interesting with the introduction of the word love. Now we always say there are no accidents. It's the songwriting, both musically and lyrically, is intentional. Stands to reason the mix would be too. So that says something to me. Now, how you choose to interpret it, up to you. But the solo voice sings that, and then the introduction of "Love's Sweet Miracle." So, and if we were talking after having read Ghost Rider and knowing some of the things that Neil went through, what was his introduction back into it? He did find it within, but obviously with the very, very large catalyst of Carrie. So
That's what I was going to say. I wonder if "Love Sweet Miracle" is a direct reference to Carrie.
I I think it
Yeah.
is, but
Yeah,
That brought him to the surface. Yeah.
yeah, I felt, as I say, I felt that after I read Ghost Rider. My initial perception of listening to the album when it came out, and then reading Ghost Rider, and then thinking back is sort of, oh, okay, that makes sense. Love, Sweet Miracle of Life. That he's, you know, honoring the Jackies and the Selenas, but you got to move forward. It's, as he said, he could just languish at home with bottles of whiskey and white powder, or he could get out on his bike and find a reason to live. And obviously, he chose the latter, and we're all grateful for that.
yeah.
Well, this song doesn't. It's so short. They didn't even bother with a guitar solo. But this far into your career, it's sort of, we know he can play a solo. Who cares? And we know he wanted to get away from those solos. We have a bridge where Getty has a long, drawn out, very melodic, "Oh Salvation, Oh Salvation." So
Almost
that's,
him-like.
yeah, yeah. And at that point, I mean, obviously, yeah, with angels, with walking on water, there is the imagery. Getty has certainly spoken of his religious viewpoints in his book, and before, they all have had some. Well, actually, Lifeson, I don't think, has really said anything, though he was reading a particular book in one of the documentaries. Look closely the next time you watch the documentaries. If you're thinking, hey man, which documentary? Watch them both. They're awesome. You know it. But in that respect, yeah, they are certainly working some imagery here. But as they say, what an excellent bridge, just to have these long, drawn out "Oh Salvations."
Yep.
Well,
And I think it's worthwhile pointing out that language is often determined by culture, right? So salvation must mean religion. It doesn't have to, right? "Oh salvation" might be, I went through this thing and good things happened that I wasn't in control of, but it brought me out of it. And that's a salvific experience, right? Salvation. So we always want to put these words in the context of religion, which is fine too. People have their own experiences and within, terms of their faith and beliefs. But salvation doesn't necessarily have to mean eternal life. Sometimes it's just a moment in life where I felt saved when I was sinking into the depths. So for what
I
it's
said,
worth, I'll throw that out there.
yeah, I said in our episode 200 of Rush Roundtable, where, what does rush mean to you? I had no problem explaining the fact that I went through some stuff about 2.5, 3 years ago. I found this community, and it was very instrumental because suddenly I'm deep diving Rush material and talking with like-minded individuals about it. So by its, my Latin's a little rusty, but salvation, the root in there being save or whatever ends up being, you can very easily say my reintroduction to Rush and how much time I put into it, and absolutely was a form of salvation. So, not to overinflate it, but been doing these now for 2 years, so it's like that's I definitely say from a lower point, definitely pulled me out of it. So yeah, I agree completely. Anything that gets you out of that spot.
Mhm.
Moment by moment.
Nice. Well, we got another verse. It's kind of a little bit of a pattern here. We seem to have verse and chorus. It's almost like a rock song, straight ahead rock song, A minor, C, F, G, straight ahead rock song. But let's see, what was Neil writing? I wasn't praying for magic. I was hiding in plain sight, rising up from the surface to fly into the light, into the light.
I
I
think
wasn't praying for
this is
magic. It reaffirming that, I wasn't looking for that outer force or some monumental shift that is intangible. I was
Right.
hiding in plain sight. I was just right here in the everyday world. And there it was, rising up from the surface to fly into the light. No more starless night. Now we have the light, reaffirming that connection or that reintroduction into land of the living or whatever he was shooting for.
Right. Yeah, what's great about Neil's writing, you don't read a verse and then go to the next verse and then the next verse. Each verse somehow references the former verse, but brings in new material. So it's kind of like this really, kind of tapestry way of writing that Neil does, And I wonder, beyond the light of stage, when Neil's mom said, he had to learn how to knit because he just had to know how that was done, and he was weird, you know. She said, it's like, he knits his lyrics together in just magnificent ways that everything that he writes just keeps weaving into the things he's written before.
The rug really brings the room together.
it does it. I
And
just
don't pee on the rug, okay? Just don't pee on the rug because
mid
this aggression will not stand, man.
Yeah, there's no mid rating, please. And I could just see Neil on a rocking chair knitting something, like a Rush sweater for Christmas, some stupid.
With his
Or just
weird hair, right?
Yeah, pull the
Not
shovel.
cool enough to be in this band.
Yeah,
So what you're saying is that every time a rug is micturated on in Quebec, Neil is responsible for knitting a replacement.
right. Exactly.
That's another episode. That's a lot to unpack right there.
Nice.
The mysteries of Rush.
Well, we might have another chorus in line here, outro chorus, no less, as those are usually double length for anyone who isn't up on their song form. So again, as with previous choruses, "Oh sweet miracle, oh sweet miracle, oh sweet miracle." It goes for four again, "Oh sweet miracle of life." And then he's basically bringing both choruses together because the second half of this outro chorus, "Oh sweet miracle, oh sweet miracle, oh sweet miracle, love sweet miracle of life." So,
Harmony vocals, loud and clear. The loudest they are throughout the song.
and this is definitely a tour de force for some Geddy vocal performance as far as those overdubs went.
Mhm.
Yeah, just those choruses, the bridge. And also, I mean, some of the like going back to the intro with Geddy playing more chords. And at that point, the chords, I say with intentional air quotes, are basically just once again dyads, double stops. He's playing, A minor, G, F, so when the guitar goes up for that high funkiness, bass is playing those chords again. So Geddy is all over this thing. It's almost like he was a pretty integral part of that band.
And then
Yeah,
just the fact that there's only one bass track on the song too. There's not more than one bass track. It's not layered
Right.
like previous tunes. So
Yeah, you get like 8,000 guitar tracks, one bass. J bass, Tech 21. Anyway.
even the vocal lines are, I mean, one thing I've read in the live chats with all these premieres that we've done with these episodes, I've noticed some people say, "Well, you never say anything negative." Well, for starters, I'm not that type of cat. But secondly, what I did notice on this song is I almost could hear the punch in on the vocals. They were so tight in the verses.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's a critique. I'm not saying I did hear it. I'm not saying it's a flaw. Probably intentional to put the words that close together. But that being said, I don't think it was, even though I think this was third single, wasn't it? Was this the third single off the album? Not that they think along those lines. I'm talking record company, but I thought it was the third single.
It might have been actually.
Yeah, not giving itself to a live performance, in my opinion, because of how you can't get a breath in with those lyrics.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's the thing, that very quick cut between verse and chorus. I was listening to it with, these headphones on earlier, and it's just, it's so immediate. It is basically just kind of, like old school razor blade to tape and put it together type of thing.
Yeah.
Now, oddly enough, it was funny. I found, not funny, haha, and actually not funny, peculiar. Okay, I got nothing. But I did find a fan video using this song that was made 20 years ago, and I
I
thought that
saw
was kind of
that.
interesting. Yeah.
The
So
couple on the beach and the tarot card that starts with the tarot reading. It's
right,
like the 7.5
yes,
minute video for a
hmm
3 minute and 40-second song, but it was very good. I did see that.
yeah, yeah. Filmed around New Jersey and Long Island, and yeah, began. And I thought the one guy was rather presumptuous to steal the tarot card from the reader, but whatever, because Jersey Shore, who knows?
Kudos
So
to the
not.
director for actually including the tarot imagery, though. I thought that was very slick.
And I do believe the individual who was the director and conceptualized it was the woman in the video. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so we don't really have live performances to look at, but we do have a fan video to look at, and we also have me trying to keep from dumping a stack of tarot cards off the table. So, well, that's our discussion of Rush Roundtable episode. What do we say?
241.
Thank you. Yes, wrap that back around full circle. So, do we have anything else to say about this song? I mean, it's straight and to the point. It's I don't know.
One thing, every song on this record is dark. Every song contains a little seed of hope and light. And this song is emblematic of that.
Excellent
and it's a
observation.
nice hard finish on this song too.
Right. Yes.
Doesn't trail off or anything.
Yeah, they did that on a couple other. I think even Earthshine had a bit of a distinct hard ending. We're not talking drop the guillotine ending, but yeah,
A little victory had one.
yeah.
Yeah.
And those harmony vocals coming together on the root, of course, at the very end. So coming off of an A minor F C progression, but landing on those A's for the vocal overdubs. So I guess that's us. So I thank everyone for joining in, watching the Rush Roundtable, watching our discussion of Sweet Miracle. And do I remember that we're going to have some other episodes coming up in the next couple of weeks, and then we'll resume Vapor Trails discussions in September? Or
Yes.
okay,
Yeah, we have two mixed bag episodes that you will see when they come. and then we'll finish off Vapor Trails after that.
And then
There
on
might
to
be a
snakes and
trip
arrows.
to another country involved.
You mean
What?
nice, a field trip? That's always
Could
good.
be. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Well, again, thank you for watching. Feel free to subscribe. It's as easy as clicking a button or tapping on your phone. There is that little bell to ring on the phone. We have, once again, subscription. Well, I said subscribe. We have sponsors. That's what I'm pointing at, are sponsors. And merchandise like Paul has on him. And Ko-fi. And share this thing. Share it with friends. Share it with people you don't like. Yeah, you can do that. Might as well. You know.
Absolutely.
On your
It's
favorite
just-
Rush social media pages.
So it's just all about being excellent to each other and sharing it with people. So
Yes.
now I have no control over the recording, so I'm going to turn it back to the person who's hosting the tech of this, and again say thank you from Rush fans.